NBA players can buy whatever they want. But it wasn't always like this.
My mom kicked me out of my house, to tell the truth.
These are NBA players that came from nothing. And a player who had one of the worst childhoods growing up was DeMar DeRozan.
The negativity that I was going through was norm. You know, it was so easy to get caught up in a lot of negativity that was going on, a lot of temptation to go the wrong way.
DeMar grew up in Compton, California, a top 10 dangerous city in the United States, with gangs at every corner. Imagine fearing for your life just walking down the street, where at any moment, you could catch a bullet that wasn't aimed at you, get robbed by thieves in broad daylight, or get caught up in drug deals and crimes gone wrong. That was the environment DeRozan grew up in for most of his life, because he grew up surrounded by the Compton Crips. DeMar would get his first experience of death around the age of 5. He attended his first funeral for his uncle Kevin.
Early on, 5, 6 years old, I lost my uncle to gang violence.
He was shot by a rival blood gang member, and DeMar remembers him as one of the biggest Crips in Compton. He said his death was like if a celebrity died, and it was more like a parade than a funeral. DeMar had seen a lot of death in his young life growing up in Compton, and all he could do was wait for the weekend so he could play basketball with his father. He started playing with his dad around the same time as the funeral, using it as an escape from reality. His father was insanely hard training him. He would call him names like soft or crybaby. This made DeRozan so frustrated, he would go cry to his mom, but she knew the angrier he got, the better he played. But his childhood would completely change one day when his mom picked him up from school and took him to the hospital. His father had a stroke, and soon after that, his mother was diagnosed with lupus. He was only in 7th grade when he realized he had to play basketball, not just for himself, but his family as well. People ask me what I would have done if it wasn't for basketball. I can never give a good story because I honestly don't know. I had no other options. And just when you thought it couldn't get any worse, Davion Childs, DeMar's best friend, was shot and killed on his way to DeRozan's house.
I lost my best friend in high school to murder.
He was killed over a dice game argument, and DeRozan puts a lot of blame on himself, knowing he could have just picked his best friend up instead of letting him come by himself. He couldn't even bring himself to go to the funeral because he had been to too many, and this one hurt just a little bit extra. This made DeMar go even harder, becoming a 5-star recruit and ranked the top 5 player in the nation in high school. All the gang members that surrounded him his entire life realized how special DeMar was and made sure not to mess with him so he could make it out of Compton. He would commit and play at USC, only 20 minutes away from Compton. It was so close, yet so far, saying that all the kids there were from LA, but not his LA. He would go on to be drafted 9th overall by the Toronto Raptors, become an All-Star 6 times, and be the 50th player to achieve 20,000 career points in NBA history. But in 2021, DeRozan was met with his biggest struggle yet. It was in February, when the man that taught him the game he loved passed away. In memory of his dad, he got a tattoo on his left shoulder. He showed up to every practice and game to help DeMar succeed, and he claims his dad was the only man he ever feared, not scared of him, but scared of letting him down. I think when I lost my dad, it opened me up to accept being vulnerable. When I lost my dad, I lost myself for a while.
I done flew from Boston to LA to Toronto by myself, played in the game. Did the same thing in San Antonio, but nobody never knew. It was times I flew in a day of the game and played from seeing my dad.
Growing up in one of the most dangerous cities in the world is also something Dwayne Wade had to overcome. Raised in the south side of Chicago, Wade went through family struggles in a troubled environment. It wasn't just the streets of Chicago, but also in his own home. His parents got divorced when he was only a baby, so Wade grew up with his mother, but this may have been the worst place for him. His mother was addicted to heroin and cocaine, plus had a drinking problem. On top of that, a young Dwayne Wade could be woken up in the middle of the night by gunshots at any time, and he was also living with cracked concrete walls and rusty gates, so it wasn't even safe in his own home. It was near this house, at his local park, where Dwayne would have his life completely changed.
And I remember going by the swimming pool, and I remember seeing a dead body floating in the water. And that was the first time I ever seen a dead body. And it was in the pool, and I'm like, I didn't know what to do, so I just ran.
Shortly after this, at just 6 years old, is when his house was raided by police for drugs. But this wasn't anything new. It was actually a regular routine for D. Wade, and he would always run and hide when he saw the police. He had seen countless people, including his mom, be handcuffed and just taken away to jail, so he was always afraid of them. His mother would be in and out of jail until 2003. The family was on welfare and even then could barely survive financially. When Wade was 8 years old, he would finally move in with his father, who introduced him to his way out, basketball. His father did his best to keep him out of trouble, and they eventually moved to a suburban neighborhood where he was able to focus on just sports. D. Wade gives a ton of credit to his father because he knows that if he stayed where he was, he would have started selling drugs or joined a gang just to get by. Luckily, he knew from an early age that he wanted to be a pro basketball player, buy his mother a house, and get his family out of the ghetto. He worked tirelessly day and night to be able to average 27 points and 11 rebounds his senior year of high school. He would eventually attend Marquette University, but the struggles in his life were still catching up to him. Due to poor grades, he wouldn't be eligible to play his freshman year. His head coach Tom Crean still had him on the team, and Wade would eventually get on the court and average 17.8 points, 6.6 rebounds, and 3.4 assists for the Golden Eagles. Dwayne Wade would go on to be selected 5th overall in the 2003 NBA draft, being picked right after LeBron James and Carmelo Anthony. From a kid struggling in the ghetto of Chicago to becoming a 3-time NBA champion, Finals MVP, and NBA legend. Now, D. Wade's best friend had a similar childhood, but after starting from nothing, he went from zero to $1 billion while becoming one of the greatest to ever play the game. LeBron James was born in Akron, Ohio, and he didn't have the easiest life growing up. His mother, Gloria, was just 16 years old when she had him, so she wasn't able to complete her education. She went looking for work to try to make ends meet, but couldn't find anything since she never finished school. Gloria's main support for raising LeBron was her mother, Frida, who unfortunately passed away only 3 years after LeBron was born. And when she passed away, Gloria fell behind on her bills, so the James family was without heat during that cold Ohio winter. LeBron's father was nowhere to be found, so Gloria and LeBron bounced from apartment to apartment for years, failing to find a consistent home. This made it almost impossible for LeBron to go to school, since he was constantly moving around so much. And when LeBron was 9 years old, Gloria realized she couldn't take care of him, but they were finally gonna get some luck. LeBron was playing Pee-wee football for the Southside Rangers when his coach Frank Walker learned about his situation.
I didn't play organized basketball until the 5th grade, so I started getting the help 3rd and 4th grade. That's when I met the Walker family, and that was the first year that I played Little League football.
He realized that LeBron was missing around 80 to 100 days of school per year and would stay up late and watch TV with his mother on most nights. LeBron had no structure or stability in his life, so Frank Walker offered both LeBron and Gloria the deal of a lifetime. He would have LeBron move in with him and give Gloria a chance to stand on her own 2 feet. They agreed, and LeBron was eventually introduced to the game of basketball. He became a high school superstar, got drafted #1 overall in the 2003 NBA draft, and eventually became the highest scorer in NBA history. But an NBA player who had one of the worst childhoods was Jimmy Butler.
It was hard. I had to grow up at a young age, and I had to be able to not really take care of myself. I had help, but I was on my own for the most part, and that's the way I felt.
Jimmy grew up in a small town just outside of Houston, Texas. He didn't have a father figure in his life, so you think his mom was the one who took care of him when he was young, and she did make Jimmy into the man he is today, but not in the way you're thinking, because at the age of 13, Jimmy's mom kicked him out of the house.
My mom kicked me out of my house, to tell the truth, and I bounced in and out of guys' houses in high school. My senior year, I found a stable home that just kept me, not because they thought I would be anything in basketball or because I'd be here interviewing on ESPN, but just because they're good people and they do good things. And they felt it was the right thing to do.
And moving in with his new family did more than just give him a roof over his head. It gave him confidence that he could achieve his dream no one thought possible, making the NBA. After averaging only 10 points per game his junior year while living on the street, he bumped it up to 19.9 after he found his new family. And even though Jimmy had the best season he could have hoped for, he wasn't heavily recruited out of high school and decided to attend Tyler Junior College. But he knew if he wanted to achieve his lifelong dream of making the NBA, he had to take his game to a whole nother level. During his 1 year at Tyler Junior College, he averaged 18.1 points per game, and this got him some interest from some Division I programs. He was only a 2-star recruit and was outside the top 100 prospects in 2008, but Butler still got offered a scholarship to go play at Marquette, where he would only average 4.6 points per game during his first season. And he knew this definitely wasn't good enough to make the NBA, so his junior year, he bumped it up to averaging 14.7 points. But he still wasn't on any NBA team's radar, so during his senior season, he knew it was his last chance to prove everyone wrong. He raised his scoring average to 15.7 points per game, putting on a show for the entire world to watch, and this was good enough to have him selected 30th overall to the Chicago Bulls in the 2011 NBA Draft. And so far in his NBA career, he's been a 6-time All-Star, won Most Improved in 2015, and has been one of the best playoff performers in NBA history. And Jimmy wasn't kidding about anyone making it out of their situation, because Damian Lillard proved everyone wrong. Lillard grew up in Oakland, California, the 8th most dangerous city in the United States, and he was never safe.
When I was 8, 9, 10 years old, they used to do a picnic, and it was called the Never Worry Picnic. And the whole neighborhood would be there. It always ended in like a fight or a shootout or something like that. And then it would be like a bad ending to the day all the time.
Because he was surrounded by drugs and crime, he was drawn to the one thing keeping him out of trouble: basketball. He started playing when he was 8 years old, and he always knew he was special. The only thing was, Lillard was always seen as the underdog. He was always overlooked and was never seen as a star. When he was playing for Oakland High School, he wasn't ranked by ESPN, and 247 Sports had him as the 214th prospect overall. And what's even worse is Lillard's own coach didn't believe his dream of going to the NBA.
Coach was like, man, you think you can make it to the NBA? And I was like, yeah. He chuckled and laughed in my face, bro.
Even after averaging 22 points per game as a senior, he didn't receive much attention from colleges. And it was Dame's AAU coach who helped jumpstart his college career, because he knew the coaching staff at Weber State. Weber State's a small Division I program, but unlike most people, Lillard already knew about Weber State. See, just like the rest of us, he likes the game, and he grew up playing NCAA March Madness 06, but he played it just a little bit differently. He would play the game as his own creative player, but instead of going to a huge school like Duke, he would go to a small school no one has ever heard about and try to win a championship with them. And the team he always ended up playing for was Weber State. I used to put my player on Weber State. That's on my kids. This is how I first heard of the school, because I used Weber State. On the video game, they were one of the only small schools that had a nice arena. Lillard spent 4 years at Weber State and was always the underdog. He wasn't seen as a high upside NBA draft prospect, but he was still picked 6th overall by the Portland Trail Blazers in the 2012 NBA draft. He's now a 7-time All-Star and one of the best 75 NBA players of all time. But he doesn't forget about where he's from. Every year, he goes to his old neighborhood in Brookfield to host his own picnic. He wants everyone in his old neighborhood not only to see someone successful who's come from there, but also to see someone who understands their struggles. Some NBA players come from nothing, but what's even crazier is NBA players who lost everything. Check it out right now.